When you picture medieval life, you probably think of knights in shining armor, grand castles, and epic battles. But here's the truth. 90% of medieval Europeans were peasants. They were the backbone of society, the ones who kept everyone fed. And yet their daily lives have been almost completely erased from popular history. Today we're stepping into the worn leather shoes of a 14th century English peasant to discover what their day actually looked like. No romanticism, no fantasy, just the raw, exhausting, surprisingly complex reality of medieval rural life. This is the Unwritten Archives, and this is a day you've never seen in the history books. Our peasant's day begins before dawn. There are no alarm clocks, but there's something better or worse, depending on how you look at it. The rooster, and also the urgent need to urinate after sleeping for several hours. But here's what most people get wrong. Medieval peasants didn't sleep through the entire night like we do. They practiced something called biphasic sleep. They'd go to bed shortly after sunset, around 8 in the evening, sleep for about 4 hours, then wake up for an hour or two in the middle of the night. During this time, they might pray, tend to the fire, check on animals, or even visit neighbors. Then they'd go back for a second sleep until dawn. When our peasant finally rises for the day, it's still dark outside. The entire family sleeps in one room, sometimes one bed. Parents, children, and possibly even a grandparent or two, all huddled together for warmth. Privacy is a luxury that doesn't exist. The house itself is small, probably just 1 or 2 rooms with a dirt floor covered in rushes or straw. There's a central hearth for cooking and heating, but no chimney, just a hole in the roof for smoke to escape. The walls are wattle and daub, which is basically woven sticks covered in a mixture of mud, clay, and animal dung. Charming. First things first, starting the fire. If the embers from last night are still glowing, this is easy. If not, someone's spending the next 20 minutes trying to create a spark with flint and steel. Fire is life in the medieval world. It cooks food, provides warmth, and keeps the darkness at bay. While the fire's getting going, our peasant steps outside to relieve themselves. There's no bathroom, no outhouse even. Most peasants just used a designated area away from the house, or a simple bucket that would be emptied into the manure pile later. Now for breakfast. And here's where we shatter. Another myth. Medieval peasants didn't eat like kings, but they didn't starve either, at least not in good years. Breakfast is simple. A thick pottage, which is basically a porridge or stew made from whatever's available. Oats, barley, peas, beans, onions, garlic, and if they're lucky, some herbs from the garden. It's been simmering over the fire since it was lit. They eat this with dark, heavy bread, not the fluffy white bread we know today. This is dense, coarse bread made from rye or barley, sometimes even with ground peas mixed in. It's filling and nutritious, but it's also hard enough to break a tooth if you're not careful. In fact, worn-down teeth from grinding coarse bread is one of the most common features archaeologists find in medieval skeletons. Everyone eats quickly. There are no leisurely breakfasts here. The sun is rising and there's work to be done. What our peasant does next depends on the season, but let's say it's early autumn, harvest time, one of the busiest periods of the year. Our peasant doesn't own the land they farm. They're a tenant of the local lord, which means they owe him labor, a portion of their crops, and various fees and dues. Several days a week, they must work the lord's fields before their own. Today is one of those days. They grab their tools, a sickle, maybe a scythe if they're fortunate, and head to the lord's fields with other villagers. Medieval farming is communal. The village operates on an open field system where everyone's strips of land are scattered throughout large fields. This means everyone works together, helps each other, and knows everyone else's business. The work is backbreaking. Harvesting grain means bending over thousands of times, cutting stalks with a sickle, binding them into sheaves and loading them onto carts. There are no machines, no shortcuts, just human muscle, hour after hour, under the sun or rain. But it's not silent. Grim work. People talk, joke, sing work songs, and share gossip. This is also their social time, their connection to the community. Medieval villages are tight-knit by necessity. Your survival depends on your neighbours and theirs on you. Around midday, everyone stops for dinner. Yes, dinner, because the main meal of the day is eaten in the middle of the day, not the evening. This is the biggest meal our peasant will eat. They return home or eat in the fields, depending on how far they are from the village. The meal is similar to breakfast, but more substantial. More pottage, perhaps with some vegetables from their garden, cabbage, leeks, turnips. If it's a saint's feast day or a special occasion, there might be a piece of salted pork or bacon. Meat is rare for peasants. They might eat it once a week if they're doing well, more often just on major holidays. They can't just slaughter their animals whenever they want. Those chickens, pigs and cows are investments providing eggs, milk and labour. Killing one for meat is a big decision. They drink ale with their meal. Not because they're all drunkards, but because ale is safer than water. The brewing process kills bacteria, making it the beverage of choice for everyone, including children, though theirs is a much weaker version. After a brief rest, it's back to work. If they've fulfilled their obligation to the Lord's fields, they can finally work their own strips of land, but there's always something to do. Weeding, repairing fences, tending to animals, maintaining tools, gathering firewood. Women's work is equally demanding. While men are in the fields, women are managing the household, which is far more complex than it sounds. They're brewing ale, baking bread, tending the vegetable garden, feeding chickens, collecting eggs, making cheese, spinning wool into thread, weaving cloth, making and mending clothes, caring for children, and maintaining the home. Medieval peasant women are not delicate flowers. They're working from dawn until well after dusk, performing skilled labor that keeps their families alive. Children work too. By age 5 or 6, they're helping with simple tasks, feeding chickens, gathering kindling, watching younger siblings. By their early teens, they're doing adult work. Childhood as a protected period of life doesn't really exist for peasants. As the sun begins to set, work in the fields ends. Our peasant returns home exhausted, covered in dirt and sweat. There's no shower waiting, no hot bath. Maybe they wash their hands and face in a basin of water, but a full bath is a rare event, perhaps once a month if that. Supper is light, leftover pottage, bread, maybe some cheese. The main meal was at midday, so there's no need for another heavy eating session. Besides, food must be stretched to last. After eating, there are still chores, animals need to be checked, tools put away, preparations made for tomorrow. But eventually, as darkness falls, the family gathers around the hearth. This is their leisure time, though it's not quite leisure as we understand it. Women continue spinning or mending by firelight. Men might repair a tool or weave a basket. But they also talk, tell stories, sing songs. If they're lucky, a traveling minstrel or storyteller might pass through the village, bringing news and entertainment from the wider world. The church plays a huge role in their lives. They pray before bed, and their entire calendar is structured around religious feast days and festivals. Religion isn't just Sunday church, it's woven into every aspect of existence, providing meaning, hope, and community. As the fire dies down, the family prepares for bed. They don't change into pajamas. Most peasants own only 1 or 2 sets of clothing, and they sleep in their undergarments or sometimes their day clothes for warmth. They climb into bed, which is usually a wooden frame with a mattress made of straw or hay, covered with rough woolen blankets. It's not comfortable by our standards, but after a day of brutal physical labor, they're asleep within minutes. And then a few hours later, they'll wake for that middle of the night interval before falling back asleep until dawn, when the whole cycle begins again. This is the life that the vast majority of medieval Europeans lived. Not the knights, not the nobles, not the clergy, just ordinary people trying to survive through hard work, community cooperation, and sheer endurance. Their lives were hard, yes, but they weren't the miserable, filthy, ignorant masses that popular culture often portrays. They had rich social lives, complex communities, skilled crafts, and moments of joy and celebration. They were people, funny, petty, loving, ambitious, flawed, and human. History forgot them because they didn't write books or commission paintings, but their labor built the medieval world. Every castle, every cathedral, every piece of bread that kept society alive, it all came from the hands of people like the Peasant we've followed today. This has been the Unwritten Archives. If you want to hear more stories that history left behind, subscribe and join us as we dust off the forgotten chapters of the past. Because every life, no matter how ordinary it seemed, deserves to be remembered.